Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the Serious Strategy Game, and we are returning, of course, to Hearts of Iron 4 La Resistance, where we're playing as the Soviets, trying out the new features. For now, we're trying to bring about revolution into Iran, while at the same time we are supporting our communist brothers in Spain against, well, both nationalist Spain, but also anarchist Spain. So that's an interesting new feature that we've got over here. We are also currently trying to free one of our operatives in Iran. That's going to take 4 days, so that should be done fairly soon. Oh, we do have 3 military factories. Well, that's lovely, isn't it? Well, I do think that we do need quite a couple of infantry equipment units over here, so let's actually accelerate that a little bit, and let's also have a look at the construction side of things, because I'm suspecting, yes indeed, that we could build up a little bit more our military factories, pretty much all around, I suppose. Where's Moscow? Over here. Yeah, let's build up quite a bit over there, and then into some of the high infrastructure regions that I'm hoping to find around over here. At least 50%. Well, 50% is not that bad, is it? 70% is a little bit better though, so yeah, let's use that, and I guess just prioritize that a little bit. Perm can be a little bit better, I suppose, and then we're going to bring Moscow up here as well, so that does sell that nicely. Right, so we've got our army groups set up over here. One thing that you might notice is that I have taken the liberty of over here, sending out all of our cavalry units right next to Xinjiang and Mongolia. Those of you who followed my last series of a Mongolia Let's Play in Kaiserreich might appreciate that, so yeah. It's just a little bit of flavor. Right, without further ado, let's get back to our things over here. So this mission has been finished. It would really be nice to get a notification about that. But anyway, Iran itself is, how are you looking in terms of your communist support? It must be about 25%. Yes, indeed, slightly lower, but that's not a big deal. I suppose what we can then do is in Germany infiltrate the civilian administration so that we have a little bit of better information about that. Let's use Richard Zorge for that, and I suppose anyone else who's really good at that. You're a natural orator, so yeah, let's use you. The outlook for that is pretty excellent, so I think that is fantastic. Not really sure why, but yeah, let's commence when ready. It's going to take 4 civilian factories, 4 days. We are basically using diplomatic passports to enter that. We'll identify someone with financial difficulties, and then we're going to hike across the border back home. Not sure exactly what border that is going to be, potentially through Poland. But yeah, let's see about that. While our other guys are still in Persia, I believe. Well, you are not. You should boost our ideology over here, please and thank you. While I suppose you could continue to build our network over here. So that should give us a decent boost over here. Yes, and indeed it does. Right, let's not completely lose sight of the war over here in Spain. We are just finishing off this little pocket over here. And honestly, I think you guys can actually properly attack into there. We're also building up our passive defenses. We can continue to do that, I suppose. We really want to focus on maxing that out. China declaring war on communist China. Interesting. Okay, fine. So, you guys have done your duty up over here. Now, the communists, the nationalists are closing in on us a little bit. And specifically down here, I'd really like if our communist friends weren't completely cut off over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to allocate like a defensive line over here. Just a modest defensive line. I'm not trying to win the war for them necessarily, but we are gaining some valuable army experience and also air force experience, I think, for this. Let's fly over the southern peninsula here, just so that we are supporting these defenses. Interwar artillery, well, that is lovely. It is 1937, so what are we going to research next? All of this is pretty nice actually, but we don't necessarily need that. Radio detection would be okay, I suppose. Air forces, we are researching that already. We do have a nice bonus here for... Don't exactly know why we've got that, but honestly I'm going to take it. Ah no, sorry, we could just spend army experience for that. That would not be the worst idea. Is there anything else though that we do need? Or could indeed use in any way? Armor. Artillery, that's all good actually. Air doctrine. Interception detection, yeah, it would be good, I suppose. Not critical, but good. Air doctrine, engineering, industry. I don't think we need synthetic refineries, really. Yeah, let's go for excavation 1. I think one level in that is a fine choice. Right, how are you guys doing? You're still transferring down there. Some of you at the very least, and I suppose what I want to do is staff office plan after that. Passive defense is done, so that is maxed out now, which is lovely. So I don't think we need that much more at this very moment. We could do a little bit better encryption, but yeah, there we go. The cipher for the Germans has been fully researched now, so that is great actually. I suppose I want to start that on Finland. It's going to take 200 days or so. But of course we do know the course of war, so yeah, let's find out about that. Right, you're all in position. Let's do staff office planning now. Oh yeah, in fact defending over here. Well, but that's nice because I think you're doing well over here. But look at that weather minus 90%. I'm really not sure what that is supposed to entail. I mean, the weather here looks extremely clear actually. It's just an unplanned offensive. This is weird. I'm wondering whether that is working as intended. Because, again, the attack values over here... Ooh, Amelia Hurt makes it, so she is not being shot down over the... You see that? Minus 90%. I think there's a problem over here, but I'm not sure about that. Right, Spanish gold reserves. It has been some time since the Soviet gold reserves arrived. Soviet gold? It has been some time since the Soviet gold reserves arrived in our country. It should read Spain. And we've continued to send ample aid to Spain without payment. Members... This is really weird. Members of the government are beginning to comment on the farcical state of affairs. So we could either seize the gold reserves, which would give us slightly lower consumer goods factories. Honestly, that's not as important. I would like to Spain to continue to flourish though, so I think that's great. Here's the first event, I think, of the purges, the Great Purge. Despite Leon Trotsky's being forced into exile, Joseph Stalin fears that he has secret supporters within the party. A series of rapid arrests and brutal interrogations has yielded confessions and testimonies. So, do we want to remove Kalinin as the head that we can pick over here? Popular figurehead. Stability. Stability is pretty good. Or do we want to remove Nikita Khrushchev? Communist Revolutionary Daily Support. Honestly, I think I think Kalinin is the historical choice to drop him. But Khrushchev is not that great. Daily communism support. I mean, our communism support is pretty good already, so I don't think that's really required. Right. Let's remove Khrushchev. I think that's the better choice here. We are a little bit shy on rubber, but I don't think it's critical for now. Let's briefly check off how much that is actually impacting us. So it's only impacting this and only by 10%, so I think that's fine. We don't really need to deal with that. Right, you're part of this. Can I actually allocate you towards that immediately? No, I cannot. Okay, fine. So I'm just going to get the notification every now and then. Modify government, it is possible. Well, we do have a lot of political power, don't we? So... yeah, let's go for industrial concern. I think that's going to be useful over time. How are we looking down here? Let's execute the attack over here. I know we are defending at this moment, but it would also be great to... By the way, are we still getting the negative 90% or so? Yes, we are. So really weird. I don't get that. Construction 2 being done though, so that is lovely. Excavation, no, really I don't think so. Yeah, let's go for land doctrine then. We are earning a lot of points over here and I think we can spend that. So that should work out fairly nicely here. German-Soviet treaty. Despite harsh previous rhetoric against both the people and the ideological leadership of the Soviet Union, Adolf Hitler and Germany has now reached out to us, requesting a mutual beneficial research treaty. While exchanging knowledge would help our efforts to develop new tank designs. Along promises of other research benefits in the future. There's little doubt, considering previous statements, that Germans are doing this for their own sake. Should this go forward with the government, despite the risk of aiding Adolf Hitler's ambitions? Well, I think we are going to go with the historical option, which is going to be yes, and principally because that means Japan is declaring war on China. No, that's just a coincidence, but an interesting one. So yeah, that is interesting indeed. How are we looking in terms of operatives? You've not done this yet, which is okay. How are we looking down here? In terms of, you're 26%. Yeah, okay, interesting. Right. What are you doing? You are contributing counterintelligence. Oh, you've gone home after you've done that down there. Well, I suppose that's okay, but could you actually boost party support here as well? That'd be great. Oh, no. You should actually boost the network, because that is pretty low by now. 90%. That doesn't look like that low. So why do you only get 26%? You're not covering really the entire country. That is the point. Oh well. Anyway, we should build that up. Right. Okay, so down here we are looking fairly okay, so let's continue to do that. We have researched the infantry equipment over here, but the most important thing is we have now the ability to research these tanks here in just 77 days. So that is fantastic. Let's do that. Japan declaring war in various areas of China. Marco Polo Bridge incident as somewhat is historical. US passes the Neutrality Act. Again, somewhat historical, so interestingly enough. Right, okay, a lot of fighting over here. How are we looking in terms of infantry equipment? We are short about 2 months worth of production, so I suppose that's okay. Right, oh, some free military factories. Lovely indeed. And what do we need then? We've got a couple of scout planes now. Not many, but we are going to accelerate building these, so I think that's going to be alright. Support equipment, towed artillery. A couple of light tanks over here, and maybe build some more interwar artillery here. And I suppose some support equipment would be okay, just intermediately, until we research other stuff. Okay, we are starting to lose a little bit down here, which is not great, obviously. But it would be great to push back their defensive line over here. Notice that we are also fighting some Germans over here apparently. So the Germans are obviously also aiding their allies here. Okay, and this attack is not going well at all. But maybe you can support over here. Yeah, well, I mean, their power is fairly limited as well. So that should hopefully be okay. And hopefully we are going to break through down here against this single division over there. That does look indeed fairly fantastic. So what we could do is either try to attack this cavalry division, or I think be a little bit more conservative and support the attack on these guys over here so that we are overwhelming them quite quickly, I would hope. Come on. Secret trial of the generals. The Red Army has always been home to subversive elements ever since Trotsky himself was Commissioner of War. Documents acquired by the NKVD have implicated several high-ranking officers as not only traitors, but spies. So, who do we want to purge? Let's have a look at these guys. So there is the Theorist, or Chief of Army, and Chief of Navy. Chief of Navy I don't really care about, but Chief of Army. We've got someone with Army Defense and Division Defense. Not that important, but Vasily Blücher. He might be more interesting. He has division speed, which I always appreciate. Yeah, I'd actually like to keep him. So Blücher would be great, and as a theorist, Mass Assault Doctrine is also a very good theorist. And on the other hand, what have we got down here? Army experience gain, Chief of Navy, I don't care about. Military High Command though. So, do we have anyone in Military High Command over here that would be purged? No. Military High Command, who would we lose? Armor, so that's Constantine. Constantine, yeah, Armor Division. That's okay, that's good. But not the most important. Or submarine. I really don't care about submarines. And we'd lose a lot of field marshals and all that. Yeah. Tukachevsky? Is that you? Yes, that's you. I think you're actually pretty good. General. There we go, field marshal. You are super good actually. And over here we lose Timoshenko, Boro, whatever. You're not that great. Let's do this. Okay, so we've lost a single general that we had in use. Not the worst, I suppose. Oh, also you. Do we have anyone with cavalry equipment? Yes, you do. Great. Right, okay, and down here we haven't lost you, have we? No. That would be a big loss. Sukhov, one of the most successful generals of World War II. 94% over here. Nice. Oh, we have 3 dockyards. Well, we can continue to build some convoys, I suppose. Have we got any light cruiser designs? Really not that great ones. Ugh. Don't even want to look at it. It's such a bad design. I suppose we can only really build submarines, can we? Okay, let's forget about these guys here. Oh, you've got mine layers and torpedo tubes. What are you? Just torpedo tubes. This isn't above 40. 40 is a very nice sort of cut-off point. And we don't have any naval experience. We should maybe try to get that going. So you guys here, go training. So that we gain some experience there. Right, without further ado, operative guys, you're doing fine. You've in fact finished that and I never get anything, any notification of that. So that's great. And that should give us some intelligence about Germany. Let's have a look at that actually. So here's the new Intel ledger. And that does give us quite a bit of news here about states and basically the civilian administration side of things. So you can see we have total civilian intelligence is pretty high because we have decrypted their cipher, which is good. Also from operations. That is basically the thing that we did there, that we just did. So infiltration of the civilian administration. So that's nice. It's good information though, not really critical. Interesting to see that they only have 28 military factories, whereas we have 53. So we have a significant advantage there, and civilian factories are actually identical, so that's interesting. It's also interesting to see that we can now see how much exactly of their stuff has been damaged. Interesting. Right, so that is fairly good news. We can also potentially see a little bit about their army. We don't really have enough information here though. Nor on their navy. Nor really on the aircraft. This is very nice. I really love this, that you can now see a little bit about their capital ships. Although I don't think you should require that much information about, you know, nearly all major nations knew how many capital ships the other guys had. It's not that big of a deal. Right, that being said, how are you? You are commander, you're a seducer, you are home. What does commander do exactly? Well, You guys aren't working in Iran. So I suppose what you could do is start building up a network in Turkey. New tactical bomber, lovely. We are researching this new armor design, which is also okay, I suppose. Industrial things, okay, I think we can start thinking about doing something ahead of time. So 1938, we could do radar. Yeah, let's go ahead and do some radar research. I think that's going to be alright. Yeah, but we do need to upgrade our tactical bombs here. Let's go for production of 2. I think that's going to be alright for the midterm. You're part of this new army here. And you know what? I think I would like to do this only one more time, and then we can build up more stuff at the same time. Here we go, medium tank done, which is fairly lovely indeed. So I don't think we can build any of the... No, we cannot, so that's okay. So yeah, time to do some 1938 stuff. Let's research this over here. Now, well, maybe before we do that, let's actually go for air doctrine and some interception detection over here, which I think is going to be alright. Yeah, like that. Nice. How are things looking in Spain? Fairly okay. We're slowly pushing them back here. 12 of the 21, Navy and Air Force. Honestly, Navy and Air Force, I really don't care about that much. And I do like air superiority. Let's go with this. But soon I hope that we are done. Excavation 1, okay, that's alright I suppose. Air doctrine, we are doing this right now. So yeah, I think now we can go ahead for the improved infantry equipment here. And then soon we might be able to switch out to better infantry equipment in the future. So, the anarchists have lost against the nationalists. That does mean this is going to be quite a bit more difficult actually. Right, it is late 19... And see, they are reinforcing these positions. Now we are seeing that the effect here is gone. This is really peculiar. I don't quite get the 90% drawback over there. So, Iran, 32%. Now, what do we make of that then? It does certainly mean we can try to initiate a coup over here, although it would not really be supported by the majority of troops in Iran. How much is it increasing per day? So per day it's increasing by 0.12. So just let's say we want to get to 50%, so that's 18 divided, that's 180 days, so that's about half a year, slightly less maybe. Yeah, you know what, we can wait a little while over here I suppose. How does Turkey look, by the way? Absolutely no communist support whatsoever. France does have a little bit. I think it could actually flip France this way. Maybe we could have done that. That would be an interesting choice. Xinjiang, why can we actually ask you to join us? Probably not. Just how big is communist support in many of these countries? A little bit in Yugoslavia. France, of course, quite high. Nationalist Spain, not so much. Mexico, well, a little bit. Yeah, some South American states are relatively susceptible. I think that's not quite historical. I mean, historically, at this time, there was significant communist support for many nations. I mean, not the majority, but at least significant support. And that being said, this Oh, lots of these guys. Right, fantastic. How are you looking then? 7 divisions that are still building up. We do have some infantry equipment left over, so that is nice indeed. I suppose that does mean we can train up more divisions. So how are we actually looking in terms of the divisions that we've got? So you can get over there. You guys are all fine. No one is sort of... Yeah, you actually do need to train up a little bit. This is a consequence of us changing the template slightly. But that's okay. Right. So we've got 12 divisions over here. We've got 7 more in training. I suppose... Yeah, let's try to do it this way at the very least. So that all of these guys are then in groups of 24, which I always very much like. Good. Okay, so you have defeated the enemy over here. You're now being pushed back slightly. And honestly, I don't think there's that much that we can do here with Spain. It would have been really lovely. It would have been really lovely if we could have taken you out, but that's alright. Let's go for the NKVD primacy here, because that does give a boost to the cost of our subvertive actions. Subvertive actions are not that important in costs, but since we are sort of building this let's play around the premise of these guys, so let's change it up like that. Right, yeah, definitely gonna lose here in Spain. There's just no way. There is absolutely no way. Do we have any fighters over here? We do, but it's not as many as I would have hoped. Sorry, the airbase is a little bit smaller. Oh, and we do have 3 military factories. How do we want to spend time? Oh, well, we do have medium tanks. And I guess we could build an upgrade on these guys. I always do like speed. Armor is good. Armor is definitely very, very good. Main guns, not that important except for the piercing, which is lovely. And I don't want to go too low on the reliability, so I think 80% is a nice reliability. Right, yeah, let's save up this variant. Let's get rid of this and let's build ourselves a couple of tanks. I suppose 5 lines of tank builds would be okay. 3 civilian factories, and we can build more military factories then. Why not here? Oh, 60%? 60%, that's great. No other big high infrastructure problems though. So let's go for the 50 ones that are sort of in the back. Oh, 60%. Moscow over here. I think we can build up the hinterland a little bit. Yeah, and that should be fairly nice. How are we looking in terms of resources? We are starting to see some need for more rubber, but that's not that important. Okay, you are attacking over here. Well, isn't that brave? Well, you're doing quite a bit of damage, so that's not actually too bad. On the other hand, once you're being attacked over here, I think it's significantly worse. I say that, and then they are pretty good. Doing pretty well, actually. Okay, you guys attack down there. You stay where you are. Do support this attack, maybe, but nothing more. So it would be great if we could do some damage against the Spanish over here. Nationalist Spanish, that is. Pocket defense, great. But now we don't have enough army experience to continue doing this. Well, let's do it anyway and spend some of our resources on that. That is okay. Okay, this fight down there is quite tough. Radio detection done. Lovely. It is 1938, so we can start to research some new things. Infantry equipment would be great, but not a priority because we cannot actually build that. We need to update that. Cruiser. It would be nice to get a new cruiser hull. On the other hand, submarines are doing fine. We do have some Navy experience as well. Snorkel is a way off. This is just ship launch, so I don't think that is useful for submarines. And I think submarines are the only thing that we can basically afford. That being said, where are submarine torpedo tubes? No, that's not a submarine version. Is it just part of the submarine research itself? Yes, it is. Yeah, so we need to research there to get any better stuff. Yeah, that's not really that useful at the moment. Mines would be okay, I suppose. Nah, we don't need any of this. No, I think we are fine in that regard. We are researching this, so that's great. Yeah, let's increase our research speed. That is always a very good choice, I believe. Right, okay, and I believe we have defeated some units over here, which is nice, but again, not that useful. Right, I suppose what we could try to do is bring everyone over here. Well, maybe you can stay over here. Gonna decrease that a little bit like this. We're gonna form an offensive line sort of in this direction here. We're being attacked, which is good because it's across a river, and I do believe this is very favorable terrain for us. And I would like them to exhaust their organization just a bit. Okay, let's try to attack over here. How are we looking then? Well, the German infantry division over here is obviously extremely good. But other than that, I believe we might be doing fine. Cipher for Finland fully decrypted, which is also great. Let's see what else we can do. I suppose the next big target... Would it be Italy? No, I think it would be Japan. Yeah, Japan looks like the one that most likely would be our most important enemy. Okay, 18. That is great. So we are still building up 6, which is good. And then we have got how much infantry equipment? Quite a bit, 10,000. How much do we need for normal infantry equipment? Normal guy here, 1,000. So we can rebuild up 10 at the same time, which does lead me to believe that it's completely viable to build up another group of guys here at the very same time. Let's say in Novgorod, because why not? Yes, these guys are lacking a little bit in that, but basically we can look at this that way, right? So this is 122 days, during which time we need 1,000 infantry equipment, so that's about 8 infantry equipment per day for each infantry division that we are building up. We are currently producing just how much infantry equipment? Yeah, so we can definitively train at least 20 infantry divisions at any one moment. I believe a little bit more if we give it some time. Right, that being said, our operatives are doing fine over here, and I do think 35%, that's not great. We are building up some knowledge about Turkey there, and I do think it does make sense to start infiltrating the German army. So we're going to pick the German for that, and this lady over here, and we're going to execute that immediately once that is ready. That should give us a little bit more knowledge about them. Infiltrant navy is pretty much irrelevant in Germany, at least. Not sure I like this interface that much. We could steal industrial blueprints. I think we can actually see just how much research they've done. They've researched 12 out of 43 things. Quite intel for displaying number of researchers older than 180 days. Huh. Okay. And they've researched a couple of engineering things. So 12 in industry. And just let's briefly compare that to our stuff. So 12 in industry, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6... What? 6, 7, 9. So they've done a little bit more. I suppose it's probably excavations, probably some of the oil stuff that we don't need. And conversion, it's nice, but really ancillary, we're not converting anything at this moment. So, that being said, I think this is a very good place to put in a cut. So, thank you very much for watching, guys. Do let me know what you think about our next targets and at what point we should be striking at Iran. I'm itching a little bit for a fight over here. So, yeah, let's see. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Bye-bye.